Welcome back, everyone, to the HeatWave Podcast, part of the Roundtable Sports Network. My name's Anthony Aguirre, Miami Heat and Miami Hurricanes beat writer for the Roundtable Sports Network. Before we begin, I kindly ask that you please download the Roundtable app for free and be a part of arguably the fastest growing network in sports. Now, if you scan our QR code, you're a fan of the U, you love what just happened in football, you're loving what's going on in basketball, and a bit of baseball here and there, then please scan the QR code and be a part of the Miami Hurricanes community. Hey, it's all about the U. Now, if you love more on the NBA side, you love the Miami Heat, even though, yes, it's been rough over the last couple of years. But hey, things can get better in the span of one off season. Let's see what Pat Riley does, and then we'll go from there. But please be a part of the Miami Heat community. Click the join button, and hey, everyday coverage for free. We just simply ask you download the Roundtable app, create an account, and click the join button to be a part of these communities. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to it. The Miami Heat are very strategic in how they want to bring in superstars, how they want to revamp this roster because as we mentioned in the last episode, how Pat Riley admitted that this roster was not capable of contending for a championship. Now, of course, the lack of star power is what stands out the most. Yes, you got Bam, but outside of that, not so much out there. So, obviously, things need to change. How drastic, we'll find out in the upcoming months, especially after the NBA Finals. Now, sometimes when reports come out on who the Heat are dreaming of targeting, it seems unrealistic. At one point, they were targeting Luka Doncic, and that seemed unrealistic. But because he got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, it's opened up a different definition of what it means to truly be untouchable. Because nowadays, it's kind of hard to say that anyone is untouchable after Luka got traded. If Luka got traded, then anyone can get traded. Now, Nikola Jokic, you have to wonder what's going on in Denver. Because, okay, you won a championship in 2023. The Nuggets have not returned to the Western Conference Finals since then. You were in some situations a couple games away, one game away, and now you're a first round exit. And keep in mind, last offseason, the Nuggets were one of the winners. Because when you look at what they did, when you bring in a Jonas Valanciunas, who is arguably the best fit to be a backup to Nikola Jokic, you bring in Tim Hardaway Jr., a really good three-point shooter. You bring in Cam Johnson, who's proven to be a valuable piece on a championship caliber team. These are really good moves. But you fall short of just even getting past the first round. There's obviously regression and obviously changes need to be done. But how far of changes are the Nuggets willing to go to revamp this roster? Because it's obvious when you have a player like Nikola Jokic, you are a contender. He's carried subpar rosters before and obviously didn't go far in the playoffs, but you finished with a pretty good seeding. And he mentioned after the elimination game how he wants to be a Nugget for life. He wants to be a Nugget forever. But things can change at an instant. So you just wonder, okay, are the Nuggets willing to budge on a potential trade? Now, granted, he will be a free agent in 2027 if he I'm pretty sure if he declines his player option for the year, which he would likely do because a player of his caliber would earn way more money on the open market. And again, that's why the Heat are not interested in taking back long-term deals because they want to keep their books clean. They only have a couple of contracts that go way past 2027. I'm pretty sure it's only Bam and Nikola Jokic right now, which is crazy to say. But can the Heat really rely on Jokic to be available, whether it's a trade or in free agency? Because Pat Riley mentioned in his media session on Monday how, yeah, things are very different now in terms of acquiring stars. At first, you could do them through free agency, but right now it's more so via trade, via sign and trade. And granted, that's how it is, especially with today's CBA, with the first apron, second apron, the penalties that come with it. And Jokic would be a perfect fit next to Bam Adebayo. Perfect fit. I mean, we're talking about a guy who can facilitate, he can rebound. He led the league in rebounding this year. He led the league in assist, you know, and he's pretty unselfish. He's not a player that like looks to get shots open. He's really good at getting his teammates affiliated and involved. But is it realistic? Now, there's obviously no 100% because if a player like Luka Doncic can get traded before even turning the age of 30, then yes, Jokic can get traded. There's a small chance, but there is a chance. Now the Heat, it'd be difficult because half the league would for sure fight for Jokic's talents, and there are other teams out there that can outbid the Heat very very easily. We're talking about the Charlotte Hornets, the San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. These are teams that would easily, by far, wipe out the market and simply win the bidding. But should the Heat be confident that Nikola Jokic can be available? I wouldn't say confident, but I would say be cautious because most of these players do not hit free agency, they extend. He's eligible for a 4-year, 200 plus million. I think it's 287 million extension this summer. And the expectation is he's going to sign. Of course, we're talking about an MVP candidate year in, year out. We're talking about an All NBA player. We're talking about one of the most well-rounded players in the league, arguably the face of the league to some. It would obviously be amazing to get him in Miami, but part of me thinks that this is one of the most unrealistic targets to go after. And there's going to be reports out there being like, hey, they're keeping their eyes on Jokic. They want to see what happens. They'll keep tabs open. But can we rely on it to be, you know, realistic down the line? Not too sure because a guy like Jokic, I highly doubt that he wants to really move to a different place. Part of me thinks he would rather retire than play for another team. Again, there's a lot to love here in Florida, especially when you're an athlete. There's no state tax. Of course, the lifestyle is very different, more accommodating, you could say. The weather is nice compared to the Rocky Mountains of Denver, but it doesn't seem like Jokic is gonna be amazed or glamored by all the city life that Miami brings. Even though, yeah, it's very kind to the richest of the rich, the athletes. But Jokic is very different in terms of his lifestyle. I mean, come on, we're talking about a guy who loves horses more than he might like cars. That's just the American in me speaking. But yeah. So could Jokic be a realistic target? Probably not. If anything, he'll probably sign that extension, and next thing you know, hey, the business keeps on moving. But the Heat understand that, hey, changes are needed. Now that's why Giannis is the more realistic target because, of course, they're coming off a terrible season. They've regressed in the worst ways possible, way worse than Denver. So that's why that is the more logical target, and probably a little bit less expensive on the market. Jokic's value is arguably way higher than Giannis at this point. But it would be great to have a guy like Jokic on this roster. He would elevate everyone's game. That's another thing about Jokic. He makes his teammates better. He does. So it sucks that it has to go this way, but it is what it is. And for Denver, you have to wonder, are they entering a pivotal offseason as well? Because okay, you fall short of getting past the first round. Last summer, you were deemed as one of the winners in of the summer of the offseason. Because when you get a guy like Jonas Valanciunas, who is arguably the best fit to be Jokic's backup, because that's an area that you've struggled in the past for so long, is having a decent backup center who doesn't who can provide stability when Jokic is off the floor. You get a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr., who is a really good three-point shooter, streaky at times, yeah, but when he's hot, it's amazing. And then Cam Johnson, who's proven to be a high valuable player on a championship caliber team. Like these are pieces that should be within the mix of going to the Western Conference Finals. But Minnesota, even though they were not the better team, Minnesota, they just outplayed you. They wanted it more. And they had guys off their bench who wanted it more. That's simple. And listen, I've crapped on Rudy Gobert in the past, especially on my other show, Section 305. I've crapped on him in terms of how he plays in the playoffs. But man, he did an amazing job guarding Jokic to the best that he could. I mean, he was clearly like a pest, guarding up front, not really fouling so much, and simply holding Jokic to what we would say is below his standard, even though he'll still put up a triple double. But if it's only 10 and 11 and 10, then we're just like, what happened to Jokic tonight? That's how high of a standard Jokic has. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Denver, there's pressure on Denver to really revamp their own roster to compete for a championship. Because as long as you have Jokic, who's still in the midst of his prime, then yes, your goal should be to compete for championships. Now, what pieces are available that you could look at, you could get? Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens because they don't got much financial flexibility. They don't have a lot of draft picks because they've traded some of them. And you just wonder, are they stuck? Jamal Murray, he's been good in the playoffs, but sometimes durability is a question. Aaron Gordon, can he stay healthy for a full playoff run? You got to ask those questions. And Christian Brown, can he live up to expectations? Can he take his game to another level? Because his new contract is about to kick in. I believe it's 5 years, 125, something around that number. And that's a lot for a guy who might just be a role player. That's a lot. Granted, he did a lot of things that you liked when he was under a rookie scale contract. Understandably so. He was impactful in that 2023 finals run. And he's been impactful. He's a guy who can play on and off the ball. He defends with effort. There's a lot to like with him. But sometimes it seems like these organizations are quick to throw out the big money rookie extension contracts. It just seems that way. So maybe Brown could be a trade asset, but then again, his value is kind of negative at this point right now. So it'd be pretty difficult to get back something significant in return for Christian Brown. But if the Nuggets, let's just say, if they start to think to themselves, okay, we've reached our peak, is maybe time to just start from scratch, get some picks, then that's when the Heat pick up that's when they pick up the phone and start calling. But we're probably a long way before that happened. And again, we'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. But if Jokic is available, for sure that he will be involved. I mean, come on. He played in 65 games, averaged 27.7 points on 56.9% shooting, by the way. Led the league in rebounds, 12.9. Led the league in assists, 10.7. 1.4 steals, and shot 38% from behind the arc. There's so much to love with Jokic for any team. 31 years old. We'll see what happens. But again, this is going to be a very interesting offseason for the Heat, a pivotal one. And so we'll have to wait and see. Now, to close off this segment, player grades, just to go off for a couple guys. Now, as we're talking about one Serbian, let's talk about the other. Nikola Jokic. My gosh. Horrible season. Nightmare season. Man. 47 games played. Missed a lot of time due to back injuries. Only averaged 7.3 points on 36.6% shooting. 3.3 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and shot 26.9% from three. This is a D minus. D minus. Jovic has not been on a short leash the way Killaware has been this past year, even though he probably should be. I mean, the Heat still believe in him. Pat Riley mentioned he still believed in him. He mentioned how he had him as a starter since day one of the season, but then things obviously didn't go his way. Jovic has to get things right. He has yet to play a season where he's appeared in more than 50 games. Come on. This is getting to a point. This is a former first rounder. Yeah, he's got all the potential, but potential only goes so far. So at some point, this has to change. And you extend him to a 4-year, $62.4 million contract past the rookie scale. I mean, this was arguably just the most questionable move they made last summer. Man. You just hope at some point Jovic figures it out, because if not, there has to be tough conversations. There has to be. And to finally end this off, Jaime Jaquez Jr., a more positive note. He really bounced back from that sophomore slump. A 6th Man of the Year finalist, fell short, just coming in second place to San Antonio Spurs forward Keldon Johnson. Jaime averaged 15.4 points on a 50% shooting, 5 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and shot 31.7% from behind the arc. Very impressive for a guy who doesn't really shoot a lot of threes. 75 games played. That shows durability. That shows toughness. That shows consistency. Something Jovic needs to take a page out of his book. So, yeah. That will be all for today on the HeatWave Podcast. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, it's all about the you. Please scan the QR code, and we hope for the best with the Miami Heat. But please scan these QR codes. That way you can easily go to the pages, create an account, and please click the join button to be a part of the Miami Heat and the Miami Hurricanes community. Thank y'all very much, and have a great day.